Channel TV News Express. President Tinubu directs completion of abandoned projects in Niger Delta. A Business Central Bank of Nigeria announces interest rate decision meeting date. On the foreign scene, European Union chief delays retaliation in search of deal. And in sports, Paralympic Committee opens camp ahead of major international events. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofobe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. President Bola Tinubu says he has directed the completion of some abandoned projects in the Niger Delta region. The president stated this at the plenary session of the 25th anniversary celebration of the Niger Delta Development Commission held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where he was represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and noting that the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will serve as a viable alternative to the east-west road. The president also reaffirmed the significance of the Niger Delta region to the country's economic prosperity, describing it as the goose that lays the golden egg. The House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review says it is considering a bill seeking to amend the Constitution to reform the mode of appointing the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) by involving the National Judicial Council (NJC) in order to enhance the independence, credibility, and transparency of the appointment process. The panel recommended that the power to appoint INEC board be transferred from the President to the Judicial Council, while its funding is to be a first-line charge on the Consolidated Revenue Fund. In another development, the House of Representatives has begun a sweeping investigation into alleged unethical practices in the disbursement of student loans under the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, also called NEL Fund. Our correspondent Anyete Patrick has details.
The probe follows a resolution passed by the House in May, mandating a joint committee to look into alleged financial irregularities in Nigerian Education Loan Funds, NEL Fund operations. Concerns raised include fund diversion, regulatory breaches, and other unethical practices said to be undermining the integrity of the student loan scheme. But at this investigative hearing, key stakeholders were notably absent, prompting lawmakers to issue a 48-hour ultimatum to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Ministers of Finance and Education, and other relevant bodies to submit their memoranda. The National Orientation Agency condemns the alleged misconduct, calling it sabotage against both citizens and government efforts to expand access to higher education.
This hearing is therefore structured to achieve specific objectives. First, to verify the authenticity of the reported allegations of mismanagement and lack of due diligence in the loan approval and disbursement processes.
Lawmakers warn that administrative failures and deliberate abuse must not be allowed to derail a policy as crucial as students' financing. At a technical session, committee members questioned the unexplained absence of NEL Fund's Director of Finance and criticized the agency's failure to present documentation supporting its appropriations and expenditures. In his presentation, NEL Fund Managing Director Akintunde Soya disclosed that the agency has received a total of 203 billion naira, comprising 10 billion from the national budget and 143 billion from TETFund and 50 billion recovered by the EFCC as proceeds of crime.
To objectively look into the allegations before us, to interrogate the operational processes guiding the disbursement of student loans, to examine compliance within existing legal and ethical frameworks, to recommend actionable solutions to ensure that the student loan system fulfills its intended purpose.
There are issues that we may likely must have to call the finance minister, and that means the public hearing is now been delayed by you, and therefore, Mr. Chairman, that is the way to go about it. Let him just provide some of this information since it has the resolutions, and every other agency here representing its institution should also have this resolution.
As the investigation deepens, the House says it will leave no stone unturned to ensure transparency and restore public trust in the Student Loan Initiative. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
Thank you so very much, Aniete. Still talking the legislative matters now. The House of Representatives Committee on Hydrological Services and Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission has called for a coordinated national response to the rising threat of floods across Nigeria. Chairman of the committee, Pascal Agbodike, says urgent action is needed, particularly in high-risk areas near major dams and flood-prone communities. Again, Anita Patrick reports.
At an interactive session in Abuja with key stakeholders, Chairman of the House Committee on Hydrological Services and Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPADEC, Honorable Pascal Agbodike raised alarm over Nigeria's deepening flood crisis, blaming it on climate change, unplanned urban growth and crumbling infrastructure. The lawmaker outlined 4 urgent areas for government action: boosting public awareness, enhancing flood forecasting, rehabilitating critical infrastructure, and adopting climate resilience policies.
Deploying technology for accurate weather forecasting and the real-time flood alerts will significantly help to curb reoccurring flood disasters.
In another development, the committee has summoned the Minister of Transportation and Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Lawmakers say both officials must answer questions about their roles in Mokwa flood disaster, which claimed lives and left scores displayed.
Because you generate powers from all this dam. So as you are taking from the people, you also know that you also join us in preventing any of such occurrences again in Nigeria.
The Managing Director of Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, Aliyu Abdul Hamid, and Chairman of Mokwa Local Government, Honorable Jibril Muragi, blamed poor railway infrastructure, among other failings, for the tragic incident.
Because it was blocked. There was some infrastructure and there was some drainage that was going through the railway embankment to flow down the river Dengi. Now, what happened was, after the inauguration, they blocked completely.
With rainfall expected to intensify in the upcoming weeks, the committee insists that proactive, coordinated action is now a matter of national urgency. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
A deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Soli Bagbese, has commended the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, for spearheading reforms that have revitalized Nigeria's aviation sector, including the recovery of over $831 million in trapped funds owed to foreign airlines. Speaking during the ongoing House Open Week at the National Assembly, Agbese described the intervention as a decisive move that helped avert a major crisis in the sector. He also stated that Keyamo's collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria to clear the backlog through a blended foreign exchange payout schedule and Cabinet's approval to prioritize future ticket sales demonstrates effective and problem-solving leadership. Away from the National Assembly now, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, are lamenting what they have described as the unprecedented hardship as rental prices surge. Tenants report staggering price increase in the housing sector as the cost of living has taken a new turn. Sadia Yakubu has details.
The Nigerian capital, Abuja, once known for its affordable housing and well-planned districts, is now among the most expensive cities to live in West Africa. But what's driving these rent hikes? From high-rise apartments in the center of Abuja to modest flats in most areas, one thing is clear: rent and property prices have skyrocketed, rising by more than 100% in some areas in less than 2 years. Nigerians attribute the rent on inflation and naira devaluation, which have pushed the cost of building materials to record highs.
High cost of building materials in the market. A bag of cement was sold last 2 years for 4,500 and or even less, but now we are getting it for almost 10,000 naira. At least with that, you'll see that the cost of building houses now in Abuja is very, very on the high side.
Now that things are very expensive, things are on the high side in the market, you get, like, it's okay, I just start building that property now and I'm going to buy cement. Cement is like, okay, on the high side, and then all these materials, building materials are high. But these properties, you've made gain because it has been there for ages. So now what's the main reason? I just want to understand, what is the main reason that landlords and caretakers are increasing the price?
There you have it, mixed reactions trailing the surge in affording a rent in the nation's capital. The appeal is for the government to intervene, especially in the satellite towns for the citizenry. Sadia Yakubu, Global Television.
Well, Sadia, thank you for helping us to track rental trajectory here in the nation's capital, Abuja. We appreciate your reporting. Let's change to other stories for you now. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has called for continuity in the leadership of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to ensure that development projects are completed and not left abandoned. The former president made this statement during the plenary session of the Commission's 25th anniversary celebration held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital. He attributed the high number of abandoned projects across Niger Delta to the frequent changes in the leadership of the Commission. As humanitarian aid continues to pour in for victims of the recent Yelawata attack in Benue State, displaced residents are calling for the rebuilding of their community to enable resettlement in their ancestral homes rather than remaining in camps. This follows recent reports that internally displaced persons, IDPs, had rejected the state government's resettlement efforts, citing insecurity and poor planning. Our correspondent in Benue State, Felicity Ndere, visited the affected area and the Makurdi International Market, where some victims are currently taking refuge, and now brings us this report.
It has been a month of mixed emotions and profound uncertainty for victims of the deadly attack on Yelawata community, which claimed over 200 lives and left many displaced.
My humble appeal is that if the government could help us and bring us back to our ancestral home, we were not meant to be in IDPs.
Survivors say the community continues to suffer silent, sporadic attacks following the horrific incident of June 13, further worsening their plight. They are now appealing for the complete rebuilding of the community, especially the market, alongside the provision of basic amenities and adequate security to help them return to normal life.
Every of things have been destroyed, and we are managing from this primary school is the place that we are sleeping, and there is no way to go in farm, no way to eat, no way to do some other things. And now we need the security so that they can help us, because as this thing happened, no way to go farm.
We need to build that market, because when you do that, number one, you are giving us hope. Again, the clinic that I told you that we have a clinic here is down. Nothing is happening here. Part of them is gone down.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Namtawe Yewada, visited Yelawata community on the President's directive, announcing plans to rebuild the community through a comprehensive response focused on peace building, humanitarian aid, and long-term development.
We are looking at both the human and material destruction that took place in this place. Human lives were lost, buildings were destroyed, businesses were destroyed, livelihoods were destroyed, and to us as a government we see this as serious and unacceptable, and we must respond to it as quick as possible to restore life, restore security, and ensure that livelihoods return back to these people of this community, and that's why we're here.
The minister also met with key stakeholders at the government house in Makurdi for a needs assessment exercise, assuring that peace would soon return to Yelawata and other crisis-hit communities in Benue State. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Reporting for Global TV News.
Oh, thank you, Felicity. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has called for urgent adoption of ranching as a national policy, warning that open grazing is no longer sustainable in Nigeria's current security and food production landscape. Speaking at the National Summit of Food, Nutrition and Food Security held in Abuja, the Army Chief, represented by the Executive Director of the Nigerian Army Farms and Ranches, Major General Olufemi Dare, urged the National Assembly to enact legislation banning open grazing and providing viable ranching alternatives across the country. Here is Anita Patrick report.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, who was represented by the Executive Director of the Nigerian Army Farms and Ranches, Major General Olufemi Dare, stressed that with full deployment of security agencies, it remains impossible to protect all farmlands nationwide. He therefore advocated for massive investment in ranching infrastructure, agricultural technology and grassroots engagement to ensure food security.
The National Assembly was called up with
to boost food production and ensure farmer safety. Assistant Commandant General Bisong Oga of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps called for better intelligence sharing and legislative support to address disputes over cattle routes, especially in conflict-prone areas of the Middle Belt and Northern Nigeria.
So we need the support of the National Assembly to streamline the activities of herders and farmers. Because everybody in the Middle Belt and the Northeast and Northwest believe that they are cattle routes. So the herders believe that it is their right to march along the cattle route, and these cattle routes have been encroached because of a shortage of farmland and population explosion. It is now becoming very difficult for us to restrict the farmers to where they're supposed to farm.
On the legislative front, Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Honorable Chike Okafo, reaffirmed the committee's commitment to securing Nigerians' food systems and ensuring the safety of farmers nationwide. He was joined by Honorable Tolulope Ige, Chairman of the Forum of the State's House Committee, Chairman on Nutrition and Food Security, who echoed the need for sub-national collaboration in tackling food insecurity.
I recall when I started using security, police and all that, I don't know where I got this idea from. I told them that we need a safe environment because of you uniformed men much more. Because when danger comes, you are the first target.
Stakeholders at the summit, however, agreed that solving Nigerians' food insecurity challenges requires coordinated national policies, improved security, and sustained investment in modern agricultural practices. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
Kaduna and Kano states have presented bold reform proposals at the Northwest Zonal Public Hearing of the review of the 1999 Constitution, demanding the entrenchment of true federalism, resource control, creation of new administrative units, and greater grassroots inclusion. Held at General Hassan Katsina House in Kaduna, the hearing brought together stakeholders from Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa states, including civil society groups, traditional rulers, and government representatives. Kaduna State Governor Senator Ubasani, represented by his deputy Hadiza Balarabe, said the current over-centralized federal system is unsustainable, lamenting that it stifles development and alienates citizens. This is Global Television. You're watching a live broadcast of News Express with Uyi Agmofogwe. Then the rest of the news returns shortly. Paralympic Committee opens camp ahead of major international events. Details coming, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. the second part of this news broadcast with business. The Socio-Economic Crisis and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, over what it's described as failure to account for and explain the whereabouts of the alleged missing 825 billion naira as well as $2.5 billion meant for refinery rehabilitation and other revenues. The group's deputy director, Kalawale Oludare, stated this in a statement where he said the suit followed allegations documented in the 2021 audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Aguhu. The federal government has announced that contractors bidding for public projects will soon be required to present a certificate of subscription to the Standards Organization of Nigeria (SON) Digital Standards Platform as part of their pre-qualification documents. The directive was disclosed in a joint statement issued by the Bureau of Public Procurement and Standards Organization of Nigeria following a strategy meeting held at its headquarters in Abuja. The organization explained that the move supports the integration of Nigerian industrial standards into federal procurement in line with President Bola Tinubu's Nigeria First policy with approved national standards. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced that the 301st meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, where key interest rate decisions are made, will take place on Monday, July 21 and Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. The Apex Bank gave this notice where it said the meeting will be held at the committee's room at the CBN head office in Abuja. In its last meeting in May, the committee had unanimously voted to hold the benchmark policy rate at 27.50%. The decision reflected cautious optimism amid improving macroeconomic fundamentals. And now let's take it to the first scene where the European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Brussels will continue to hold off on retaliating against the United States steel and aluminum tariffs as it takes a deal to avoid broader 30% levies. The former stated that the EU has consistently aligned with the philosophy of negotiated solution.
United States President Donald Trump had thrown months of painstaking negotiations into disarray by announcing he would hammer the 27-nation bloc with sweeping 30% tariffs if no agreement is reached by August 1. The European Union Commission's current suspension of its retaliation over U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs had been set to expire overnight, Monday to Tuesday.
We have always been very clear that we prefer a negotiated solution. This remains the case, and we will use the time that we have now till the 1st of August. Since the very beginning, we have worked and now are ready to respond with countermeasures. We've prepared for this, and we can respond with countermeasures if necessary.
In the meantime, Brussels has finalized duties on U.S. goods worth around 21 billion euros in response to the levies President Trump has slapped on metal imports earlier this year, announcing in April that it was holding off on those measures to give space to find a broader trade agreement with the Trump administration. Uyi Agmofwebe reporting for Global TV News.
Let's take a quick look at sports for you. In a renewed push to ensure Nigeria's dominance in para sports, the Paralympic Committee of Nigeria has opened a national training camp in Lagos as the country intensifies preparations for a string of major international championships. The Paralympic Committee of Nigeria, with full backing from the National Sports Commission, has officially commenced camping for para-athletes in Lagos. President of the committee, Sunday Odebode, says the camp is a critical step in Nigeria's preparations for a busy international calendar competitions such as the World Para Championships in Santiago, Chile, the Para Athletics Grand Prix in India, as well as qualification tournaments in para table tennis, wheelchair basketball, and para swimming. Let's now end the News Express with a look at some of our big stories for you. President Bola Tinubu says he has directed the completion of some abandoned projects in the Niger Delta region. In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced that the 301st meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, where key interest rate decisions are made, will take place on Monday, July 21st and Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. On the following scene, European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Brussels will continue to hold off on retaliating against the United States steel and aluminum tariffs as it seeks a deal to avoid broader 30% levies. And finally, in sports, we told you, in a renewed push to ensure Nigeria's dominance in para sports, the Paralympic Committee of Nigeria has opened a national training camp in Lagos State as the country intensifies preparations for a string of major international championships. And that's News Express for you. Thank you so very much for watching. Remember, we are on the DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. Follow us across all social media platforms using the handle at Global TV NG, as well as the others as you now see on your screen. I really admire for this, so we are grateful for your time. I will see you again.